Guys, and welcome back to another video. Hope you are okay on that side of the screen. And today here I am with the Shelly Pro 4PM, which is not on the box anymore. It is right over here on this mini setup that I did so that I can test out without switching off my main circuit breaker. Now, one of the things that I also want to share is the sponsor of this video, which is B&H Software, a platform that we have been using for the past few months, where we can get Windows 10, 11, Home Edition or Pro Edition at a budget, really easy to purchase and easy to activate, everything legit, so I have no issues whatsoever in recommending. I've had a really great experience, and even with Office 2021. So there will be a link down below just in case you want to check that out. In terms of the Shelly Pro 4PM, what I want to share today is the installation, how we will be able to install, which is very easy, and also how it works. I will leave at the end of the video, besides everything that I'm going to mention, a small clip where I'm trying to explain how the connection works. One of the things that I would like to mention is that I really love not only the size, and this is important because it will only occupy the size of 3 of the regular circuit breakers, like this one right over here, and this is great, but the screen itself, it will make our circuit breaker look a lot more interesting. Now, it will be able to control 4 different devices, so it will be the same of having 4 of these, but instead of dumb things like these, this one will be smart. And of course, it will be able to measure the consumption, which is something really awesome. We have been using that with Shelly 1PM and other devices that we have seen here on the channel. So if you search for Shelly, and I will leave some links right here on the YouTube cards, you'll have a lot of info. Besides that, with Shelly, it's really easy to use with Home Assistant, and not only Home Assistant. For those that are not very familiar with amps and watts and things like that, this has a total capacity of 40 amperes, and for every single output it has 16 amps of maximum output. Now, this means roughly that it has a maximum capacity of 3,500 watts, which is a lot. We'll be able to put any of our regular devices working. But this information is important, in my opinion, so that you can make your calculations and decide which device you want to connect to each one of these. Now, we have 16 amps, 3,500 watts for each output, but a maximum of 40, which means that in watts, if I'm using 2 devices and each one of them using the maximum capacity, 3,500 plus 3,500, that means that I'm with 7,000 watts already of a maximum of 8,800, which is 40 amps. So I will need to be careful because I only will have 1,800 left for the other 2 channels. And this is one of the things that we should plan ahead. Having that in mind, in terms of the installation, really easy. I did use this circuit breaker right over here, did open it up. I only have one safety circuit breaker right over here, which has neutral and live, and once we put in the Shelly Pro 4PM, we will need to power it on. Now, for that we will need phase and also neutral. Neutral will be the one on the bottom with N, and then on the top we will have 4 options with the letter L. We just need to use one of which because they are inside all connected. Now, once we have power, then we can test out and see the screen working, etc., but we have nothing working. So we will need to connect the devices that we want, and for those we have identified on the top or on the superior part number 1, number 2, number 3, and number 4. This will be the load for every single output. Let's imagine that I'm replacing my old circuit breakers right over here. So I would remove 4 of these, and where the cables are coming, I would just need to remove and then put on number 1, number 2, number 3, and number 4. That is the way. Now, what I did right over here was to connect 3 lamps, just to share here some examples with you, and I also connected a fan, but this could be any other device. Now, we also have a option which is not very common on this kind of device, but it might be very useful in some case scenarios, which is the switch option. Now, I can connect up to 4 switches which will control the 4 outputs. So I will have a third option to turn them on or turn them off. And to do so, we just need to grab a neutral from anywhere, from our circuit breaker or anywhere else. It doesn't matter where the neutral comes from. And then to this particular switch, which has a dual switch button right over here, I will grab from switch number 1 and switch number 2. And basically, that is it. And this is the setup that I've got right over here. So I've got 3 different ways of controlling the devices that are connecting. The first one is if I go to the Shelly Pro 4PM and I have an arrow up and down, and if I press OK, it will turn on. In this particular case, it's the fan, which is at the back, and I could go here and turn on this one, this lamp right over here, or I can turn it off, and I can turn off the fan once again. But this could be a water heater, for example, that you want to do a automatization on when to heat your water when you have the electricity cost lower and so on and so forth. But besides being able to control right over here, as we have the option for the switch, I can just go for the switch, and if I press this button, bam, the switch number 1 is turned on and switch number 2 is turned on. I'm not really sure if this is 1 and this is 2, I don't remember, but those were the ones that I did connect to. And basically this is it. Now, besides these 2 ways, we have my favorite way, which is, if you follow the channel, you have seen this app quite a few times. I've got quite a few devices right over here, and each area has some devices, as you can see, and the temperature right now is not bad. I've got the AC on, and you can see right over here that I've got the Shelly Pro 4PM. Now I can just come here and turn on 1, 2, 3 and 4. So at this moment I've got everything connected, and starting with this principle, which is to be able to have it on an app, we are going to go to the past when we started to use devices from Shelly, which is it opens a world of possibilities. I can do everything that I want, and I can open here this option. It will give me the power consumption, it will give me everything that we have seen on other devices from Shelly. It also has the settings right over here, so we have a lot of options that I'm not going to cover today because we also have covered. But as you can see, it's a really complete software, and one of the things that we can do is the schedule is really important. Besides that, if you want more control than Home Assistant, then you will be able to do some kind of crazy scenarios. You can do also scenarios within the Shelly app without the need for Home Assistant. Home Assistant is just something that we love to use. And basically this is it. These are the ways that we can use the Shelly Pro 4PM. In my opinion, it's really interesting. Hopefully this video was helpful in some way, and if it was, don't forget to leave that thumbs up right over there, which is really appreciated on this side of the screen. As always, my name is Roberto Jorge, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Now, basically, first of all, we need to power on this device, and to do so we will find here N, which means neutral input, so we will feed here the neutral wire, and we will find also on the top line in, which is the live load, and we will find 1, 2, 3, 4. It doesn't matter which one you put the live, all of them will be interconnected inside, so we have no need to connect every single one of them. We just need to connect one, and then we will find the number 1, number 2, number 3 and number 4. This means that is the output. So if I connect a lamp, I want to put it on number 1, and this will be the same as I was using a device like this one, which is the usual that we have on our homes but are not smart. So in this particular case means that I have 4 of these available. So instead of putting the wire here, I will put the wire on number 1, and the other one I will put on number 2, number 3 and number 4. So when I press on, it will, number 1 for example, it will switch on the number 1. So this is the function that we have right over here. Now, it also has something which is optional, and it's not very common to find on this kind of device, which is the switch option, and might be very useful in some cases. And switch we mean by a normal switch. So if we want to use this option, then we just need to connect, for example, switch number 1, we will need to connect a wire which will go to one of these buttons right over here, And to make the switch, I will grab one other wire from neutral. Not here, but I will grab, it could be here, but the hole is very small, so here I only suggest to put one cable. But the same neutral will go to here, so I will have a connection on the switch from the neutral and from number 1 and probably number 2 right over here. This just means that I can turn on and off with the switch, with the device itself. I can also turn on and off with the app, and I will be able to turn on and off with the switch, which is a option. And basically that is it. Hope that this part of the video was helpful.